In 6 months, I went from skinny fat and lonely to shredded and an abundance in my dating life. For the longest time, I was stuck, making the same mistakes over and over again that so many young men make with their training. Jumping from one diet to another, constantly switching my workout routines, going to the gym for a little bit, and then all of a sudden quitting for a couple weeks. So my goal with this video is to give you all of the learning lessons I wish younger me would have known about building an aesthetic physique so that you can make progress twice as fast as I did. And the lessons in this video are ordered in a specific way for a reason, so make sure you're not jumping around from section to section and watch the video in order. So number one, the first thing you gotta understand is having the right mindset. Now you're saying, oh bro, just tell me the exercises I need to do. Oh, just tell me exactly what to do so I can build the aesthetic physique. Bro, that mindset is exactly why you haven't gotten the results. Because you're so focused on the little tactics and the perfect thing to do. But guess what, bro? Does it matter if you have the exact workout routine if you can't even get into the gym? Does it matter the exact diet you have if you can't stick to it? No. That's pointless if you don't have the mindset. So you're thinking only about the little tactics, but that's a small piece of the puzzle, okay? What matters more is the mindset. You have to get that in place first. But don't worry, we'll get to the workout routine and the diet and everything later, so just stick with me for a little bit. So what does the proper mindset look like when it comes to training? Well, first of all, you gotta have purpose. You probably hear in the self-improvement space all the time, oh yeah, just have purpose, just be on your purpose. But what does purpose mean? Purpose is your why. It's your reason. It's the reason for why you're doing something. And every single person who's had success in a certain field has a huge level of purpose surrounding this. Now, how does this apply to fitness? Well, if you want to build a sick physique, you got to know why you're doing it. Why do you want to build a good physique? Like, just be honest with yourself. Do you want to attract women? So many guys will say, oh yeah, bro, don't do it for girls, bro, just do it for yourself. Okay, shut the up. One of the main reasons I wanted to get in shape was because I wanted to attract women, okay? I'm confident enough to say that. I don't give a what someone has to say. So if you think that's cringe or whatever, I don't care. That's what I felt, and maybe you feel that same way too. Maybe you want to be more confident. You know, you want to look in the mirror and be proud of the way you look. So whatever your purpose is, make sure you know that and you align your goals to it. Because if you don't have that purpose, you're not going to be able to get into the gym consistently. Another big part of this is setting ambitious goals. I'll talk to so many guys and they'll say like, yeah, you know, I just want to have toned shoulders. I want to have, you know, a bicep vein. Bro, toned shoulders and a bicep vein is not going to get you out of bed early in the morning on those days where you know you need to go hit your workout, when you don't feel like doing it. You know what will get you out of bed when you don't feel like doing it? The 10 out of 10 physique. Saying one day I want to build the 10 out of 10 aesthetic physique. But you got to set the ambitious goal. You got to say to yourself like, yes, I want to achieve the top 1% physique, because that's what's going to make you work hard on the days when you don't feel like doing it. Saying, oh yeah, I just want to look decent, that's not enough, okay? So set ambitious goals and have a purpose around it. Also, long-term thinking. This is extremely important. The reason why so many guys quit early on is because they start going to the gym for 2 to 3 weeks, don't see many results, and then go, oh yeah, bro, it's just a waste of time. No, it's not a waste of time, okay? You just haven't given it enough time. Building good results in the gym takes time. It takes months to see good results. So you have to understand and trust the process, right? Trust the process. That's an important phrase I want you to remember. Don't quit because it's been 3 workouts and you haven't seen results, okay? Anybody who makes gains, it takes months. It takes 3 to 6 months to see some results. But the thing is, now you might be saying, well, if it takes that much time, what's even the point? The time's gonna pass anyway, okay? 6 months down the road, you're going to be looking back and you're going to have a realization. You're either going to look back to this moment and you're going to say, I put in the effort, I got the result, and I'm proud of myself. I'm grateful for my younger self because I put in the work. Or you're going to look back and you're going to say, man, I wish I would have worked hard. I wish I would have gone to the gym. I wish I would have built the physique. So when you're on the beach and you don't appreciate the way you look, you can thank your younger self for not putting in the work. Or when you're sat on the beach, right, and you feel confident about yourself, you're talking to girls, you're getting what you want, then you can look back and say, I put in the work. Number 2, the workout routine. So the first thing that you have to do if you want to build the aesthetic, like muscular, good looking physique, is you have to avoid powerlifting and athletic based routines. If you're like younger me, You started going to the gym because you wanted to start playing a sport, which for powerlifting, yeah, obviously do a powerlifting routine. For playing a sport, yeah, do athletic compound lifts. But if you want to build the aesthetic physique, these routines are not optimal for that. For the longest time, I kept on doing power lifts, power cleans, snatches, thinking that was going to help me build the aesthetic physique, but I didn't get the results because I didn't have the right workout routine. So you got to understand that if you're doing these powerlifting routines, it's not going to help you build the physique you want. You're going to build more of a power lifter, kind of like blocky physique, which if that's your goal, nothing wrong with that, right? But that's probably not what you want. You want to have the attractive physique that turns heads when you're on the beach. Now, can you still do powerlifting or train for a sport and build the aesthetic physique? Yeah, you can. There's plenty of athletes who have great physiques. But if it's your main focus to build the aesthetic physique, I would suggest just focusing on that. So here's the exact formula that you need. This is a good kind of middle ground where you're not going to be overdoing it to where you burn out, but you're also not going to be underdoing it. Because if you only make it into the gym once a week, twice a week, you're gonna struggle to see results because it's just not enough volume. First of all, you want to be hitting 3 to 5 workouts. Also, if you're going to the gym 7 days a week, training every single day, twice a day, you're doing a little too much. You're going to be completely destroying your testosterone levels and hurting yourself more than you're actually helping yourself. So 3 to 5 times a week is the perfect frequency. There are a few key muscles that help you give the aesthetic look, okay? And it's your lateral delts, which are the outside part of your shoulder. It's your lats on your back, and it's also your upper chest. Now, you got to focus on what I call the 3 most important muscles when it comes to building the aesthetic physique. Why is that? It's because it gives you that kind of Superman wide look. That's what makes a physique attractive, is when your shoulders are wider than your waist. And those 3 muscles make the most difference with that. Now, am I saying not to train legs? Am I saying not to train arms, not to train abs? No, don't skip leg day. That's not what I'm saying. But those 3 muscles are the ones that you have to, for the most part, base your routine around. Then for sets and reps, you can do a bit more research around this to find exactly what you want to do. But for a general rule of thumb, based on a lot of the research I have read, for most workouts, and like I said, there's some variation within that, so do your own research, build your own routine, but that's kind of the general rule. 3 to 4 you also sets have to understand, with good 2 sets to failure always beats ego. And 8 to 12 so many guys think, oh yeah, the more weight I do, the more heavy I lift, the more muscle I'm going to build. That's not necessarily always the case. Yes, you want to train hard, you want to train to failure, you want to train heavy, but at the end of the day, you have to lift with good form. If you don't lift with good form, you're not going to be getting good contractions, so you're not going to build a lot of muscle, and also you're going to increase your risk for injury. A while back, I actually hurt myself squatting because I was lifting too much weight than I should have been, had bad form, and I couldn't train my legs for like 6 weeks, and it fucking sucked, okay? So don't ego lift. Train with good form, and only increase the weight if you can do it in a good way. Now let's move on to step number 3, which is the diet. I see so many different diet advice videos, and as a young man scrolling on TikTok, it can be very overwhelming sometimes. You see one guy talking about, oh yeah, do the carnivore diet. You see one guy talking about, do the keto diet. Oh, do this diet. And it's like, okay, shut the fuck up. Here's everything you need to know about diet. The only important diet advice you actually need. The one thing you want to avoid is processed foods. What everybody can agree on is universally good for building good muscle is avoiding shitty food, right? Things like McDonald's, chicken nuggets, French fries, right? These foods that are super highly processed, have a bunch of saturated fat, is not good for you. So what you want to eat instead is whole foods. You want to eat foods that are low on ingredients, things like ground beef, eggs, chicken, potatoes. For example, to contrast these 2 things we just talked about, look at the label on the back of chicken strips versus the labels of just straight up chicken, or the labels on French fries compared to just whole potatoes. When in doubt, always eat the more healthier option of food. Then also with your diet, you got to know your goal. Are you bulking? Are you cutting? Are you maintaining, right? If you're super underweight, you'd be best off bulking. If you're super overweight, you'd be best off cutting. But you got to understand what you're doing with your diet and be intentional about it. You got to track your calories. You got to know what you're going for, right? Are you in a deficit? Are you in a surplus? What are you doing? Because if you're just guessing, you're just eating what you feel like eating, you don't have a plan, your results are gonna end up reflecting that. You're not gonna make much progress because you have to have a plan. Now, step number 4, you gotta lock in your routine, right? What does your sleep look like? What does your diet look like? How often are you going to the gym? You gotta have a good consistency. You gotta know exactly what you're doing because you can make a change. You can build that dream physique you want. You can get the results, but at the end of the day, no one else can do it except for you. And if you're being lazy, you're skipping your workouts, you're cheating on your diet all the time, you're not putting in the work, your results are going to reflect that. You're going to look back and you're going to say, I wish I would have worked harder. I wish I would have done the right things. Or you can put in the work. You can do the right things. You can delay gratification. And you can get to that spot where you're like looking back at yourself 6 months from now and you're like, holy shit, I have made so much progress. I love the way I look. I'm confident. But at the end of the day, it's all up to you. I can give you all the advice in the world. I can tell you everything you need to do, but it doesn't matter if you do not put in the work. So realize you have complete control of yourself. You have the power to make the change that you want. But also, you're the only one holding yourself back, bro. So put in the work. Put in the action. Go hit the gym. Go make a change. Go take it upon yourself to become that person that you want, because the things you get from it, the confidence, the attraction from women, everything is so worth it. And it's going to be hard, but if you just stick to it, you stick to your routine, you put in the work, you'll see the results. And if you would like my help building the aesthetic body, attracting more women, go click the top link in the description. That is my 1% man system, where I teach you everything that I wish younger me would have known about becoming your best self, attracting women. So I think you'd find that very interesting. Go take a look at it, and yeah, you'll thank me later. But with that being said, put in the work, become your best self, and leave no room for regret. I'll see you for the next video, bro.